Alright, a wonderful good morning everybody and welcome back here to my channel on this beautiful Sunday. And I'm back with Grixis content here. The main board mostly has stayed the same. I am still pretty happy with the list. And my win percentage is actually quite high, except for Friday. On Friday I was brewing with Magma Opus in both Blue Moon and Grixis shells, and I was like playing along these lines. And well, that didn't turn out too great, gotta be honest. But yeah, it's still something that I want to pursue at some point. So I might be giving out a brew or a video about it at some point. But as I said, like on Friday, it didn't turn out too great. But yeah, here we are. So sideboard wise, I've changed a little bit. I added a third spell bomb and a third explosives to combat both dredge and especially Ponza, as well as a couple of like creature decks like elves a little bit better. Then my Trident, still a card that I'm very high on in regards to beating both burn or prowess decks, as well as Death Shadow decks, just really good in that matchup. And then we have Damping Sphere for the big mana decks in combination with Thoughtseize, so that is pretty decent. Also a card that you want to keep your eye on that we've discussed on my Discord is Valentin, which I just saw here, but now it's gone. So where is it? I'll search it. Yeah, so Valentin, Dean of the Vein. We cannot cast the backside, but that's mostly irrelevant. But Valentin is basically a 1-mana Kalitas for us. Of course, it dies a little bit more easy, but it provides a lot of value in certain matchups. It's backbreaking against decks like Jogmoth, and for instance, also really good against Seasoned Pyromancer decks, against Kitchen Finks decks, you know, all these recursive threats that come back from the graveyard in one fashion or the other. You can catch a Croxa with it on ETB. So it's just a really decent card to have in your deck. I don't think it's the meta for it right now because it has shifted to being more like this past week. It has shifted to being more big mana heavy, which is a little bit surprising because the meta seemed to be very aggressive, and then after last weekend, the meta has apparently like where 5C Scape Shift etc. performed really well in modern challenges. This also translated to leagues being very focused on big mana and beating up on, for instance, the Valky decks, etc. So yeah, this is it where we are right now, and we're going to jump into a league and discuss all the other topics in just a couple of seconds. Alright, we are on the play here, revealing our lures. I actually saw that some people are, like, if you're playing on a very proactive deck, like Merfolk or a couple of prowess decks, then sometimes you just don't want to reveal your lures in game one in order to hide a little bit more info. I think I'm going to keep this. I have a couple of playables, and as soon as we draw another blue source, I think it's a decent hand. If we were to stumble on blue for a while here, though, see, this is what I mean. Exactly what I meant here. A lot of big mana running around, and against Tron, our hands, of course, not great. And this is one turn too late. Had it been in our opener, that would have been great. Alright, so it's Eldrazi Tron, not as bad. And he's probably gonna get an Eldrazi Temple, I would assume. So next turn we will need to have... kind of want to take away Warping Well here. But probably need to go with the... I'm going to take the Warping Well, I think. That provides the most utility here right now. Classic Tron. All right. This was a short one. Don't want to reveal too much. So I want to have this, and I do want to have this, and we're gonna cut a little bit on the 1 mana slots here. So I mostly don't want to have bolts, but 1 bolt is fine. Mishra's Bauble is not super great. I need to have a little bit of velocity in my deck because I need to draw enough lands. Therefore, I'm not going to cut everything, but Mishra's Bauble is pretty bad against Karn coming down, of course. So now I still need to cut 4 cards. I think I'm going to cut Lightning Bolt completely. And then probably 1 Shrine back. Yep, this is okay. Unless, of course, our opponent finds an early. I think we're going to start off with the Polluted Delta here and fetch for a Steam Vent. Then I can follow up with the Drown in the Loch. A Relic, alright. So this is very likely just a response to so he's gonna tap with the Relic anyway. If he does have a turn 2 Thought-Knot-Seer, and that would be bad for us, of course. But I still want to bluff a counterspell here. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's fucking insane, dude. Oh, man. Yeah, I should have... well, he would have still responded to the crack, of course. So not really a window here without a second fetch land. Taking the Cryptic, which is fine for me. So if he doesn't play anything, I think I'm just gonna draw 2 cards with the Armage's Charm. Yeah, so our opponent's like got a really good start here. So of course I'm gonna go with the Logic Knot here. And I don't actually need to take the Polluted Delta out of the graveyard. Maya Trident is actually really good here. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna play it here. Even if he does have another Reality Smasher, I don't know. We're gonna wait 1 more turn. See if we draw another land, and then I can have both up. Take the 4 here, but it's still better than running into another Reality Smasher. And if he doesn't play anything, that's fine as well. Alright. Okay. Okay, so now we do have a little bit to play with here. And for these situations, Myotrite is just really good. Like now he has to get rid of my Myotrite first before he can attack in. We built a couple of really good cards here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's fine. If he taps out, I can still take care of the relic next turn. Also, of course, if he like taps out here, yeah, probably have to counter that. Alright, this is a little bit unfortunate, but it's not super bad, unless he has another land. Then I can just return the Myotrite and she doesn't have, which is great. Our opponent has a really fortunate start here, I would say. So we're gonna return and destroy target artifacts. Of course, you're also new about my K command, so Thoughtseize and Fail Push. Fail Push decent card here. And then we can get back all Lurus. Horn. Probably getting another Walking Ballista, I assume. So we need to find something off the top here. Bauble would be bad. Mystic Forge. Okay, so Mystic Forge is interesting. The problem is that Karn, like, do I want to let the Karn tick down for another turn here? So I could attack the Karn and keep the Snapcaster up, and then kill the Thornotsia if I really need to, if he's playing the Mystic Forge. I could also hope for another land here to get the Lurus into my hand. Kill the Thornotsia. But the problem is that I need to somehow kill the Mystic Forge. I think I still want to attack though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna attack the Karn here. And then I'm gonna pass the turn. And if he's playing the Mystic Forge, pre-combat, then I'm gonna take care of it with the K command. Otherwise, I'm just gonna target the K command. Well, or I need to take care of the Reality Smasher. Yeah, let's do that then. Off mark major charm so that we can maintain. The ability to do stuff. And now, alright, so he's still attacking. I'm gonna be blocking here. Alright. Oh, that was a second reality smasher, so I would assume that it's somewhat unlikely that he can do multiple things next turn. I do want to have the Valky on top. It's actually quite decent. But I need to have the Sulfur Folds first. So what I'm going to do is this. And then we're still going to go after the Karn here. And the only way I think we're going to get punished for this line is if he does have a third Reality Smasher. Alright, so he doesn't have it, which is fine. We're going to draw another land, which will enable me to go with Lurrus into Snapcaster Mage into Drownloch. Never mind. That's not an option anymore. So cannot go with Snap here, which is somewhat unfortunate. I would say our opponent had a really good hand here. Let's see. So I think the worst thing possible is probably running into another Walking Ballista here. Yep, Mystic Forge. Very good. That's what we call well played. Alright, so our opponent doesn't have anything anymore. Does have something now. Although there is a limited advantage to that expedition map here, I think. And then I do believe that I need to take care of that Mystic Forge there. Because he has one draw off the top, and I assume that, like, yeah, I think I'm gonna just go take the Mystic Forge here. So he will have a look at the top card, yeah, of his library and then exile it. And that was what? And where's this power plant? So we didn't want to have that in order to find action. And our opponent has a very limited time frame here. Alright, so it doesn't have anything. And once he blows something up from us, So let me have a look and see if I want to have what he has on top. Yes, I do want to have that. Great. So that is that. I'm still not gonna attack with the Might right here, I think. And just have a look at my deck as well, which I believe cannot be a Knock Major Charm, so this cannot be the right one, correct? So it's a Drawn Lock Common, which I cannot cast. And already talking a little bit about what we're gonna see once MH2 hits. So we've had a couple of spoilers. You've probably seen it on other YouTube channels. There are Seagate Records actually a card that you rarely see in Eldrazi Tron nowadays. They used to play it a lot, but now they mostly have other utility cards that they do play. So what did I want to say? Right, MH2, and one of the cards is going to be Counterspell, which of course is going to be an upgrade to Logic Node, but sometimes Logic Node still has the upside, like in these scenarios where there is So do I care about that Thought-Seer? I know the other card in his hand is a Seagate Wreckage, so I think I'm just going to counter this. I'm going to leave 1 mana open for the thing. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's fine. So now he cannot blow up the blast zone, right? Does have a Meta Reshaper though. Alright, that is actually quite good. So we're gonna have a look again and then decide on what we're gonna do. Walking Well is actually not super strong, and it's also gonna be blocked by his other cards, so I think I'm just gonna tick down here on the Meta Reshaper and then play the Meta Reshaper. And then we're just gonna wait for another turn because we have the time to persist here. And at some point we're just gonna cast the Kozilek, which is actually a card that I have considered for my sideboard because on Friday I was running or kept running into the same mill person, and I was just so pissed by it that I considered putting Kozilek into my sideboard. So another blast zone here. So he's gonna kill my Meta Reshaper and my Lurrus, which is fine because we're gonna buy it back anyway. So my opponent apparently doesn't know yet that he's dead, but this is it, my friend. Or maybe he just wants to. So we're gonna return and kill the Chalice. Go ahead with this. Play the Lurrus. Play a Maya Triton. And pass the turn. I could also play Karn here, etc., but we're so ahead that I just want to save a little bit of time. Another. All right. Apparently our opponent hasn't given up yet, and I think that's fine. But he did have two quite insane stars here. So I think the lineup is pretty decent. Is there anything I want to change? I think I could put in, like on the draw, I think one lightning bolt, nah. So generally speaking, I sometimes want to have one lightning bolt in there against the Corn, just in case I don't have like it as a third dread boar for the most part. But I think it's fine. So I have to, if I have the ability, I will try to maintain my Scalding Tarn, or alternatively, I might just want to go with. Okay, so we're gonna play this. So I think the most beneficial play here is actually to start off with a Valky. Never mind. That is interesting. So our opponent doesn't have any plays right now for the next turn either. I think it's still the correct play there to go with. Let's see what he draws at the top. Chalice is interesting. So hopefully it doesn't put it on 2. Oh, he can't. No, that's fine. Because he also does have a couple of... Alright. So now I'm definitely going to play the... I mean, I could go with the Maya Trident here just to have... the Corn dead on board, basically. But I kind of want to have the Jace in there to just get rid of a couple of my dead cards now. And I can always kill the Karn with the Dreadbore. Hugin the Ineffable is another card that I probably have to take care of with the Dreadbore, so yeah, I think the Jace is most beneficial here, also in regards to hopefully drawing another land next turn, so that I do have a double spell turn. Alright, so we still know all the contents of his hands. Karn is coming down. He's not gonna play the Karn. Why? So he wants to, alright, so he wants to pump the blast zone and then explode the blast zone, but that will take him off of the Ugin. Alright, well, I don't mind. But Blastone, certainly one of the better lands that he could have drawn here. Also, if I really wanted to, I could of course just bounce the Blastone here. Which I might just do, right? Because I can't bounce it again, so yeah, I think that's fine. And then I still have the Jays in combination with the Cryptic to bounce the Chalice as well. So we get a little bit of value, a little bit of equity off of our Chalice, which I can also bounce with the Crypt. Like, if he does make the same play here and not go with the Karn, I think... Alright, so this time around we're going to go with the Karn, right? So opponent apparently switched his analysis here. Let's see what he's going to get. So sometimes... Alright, a Pithing Needle. Cannot play the Pithing Needle though, so I guess. That is just... Alright, so I think I'm due to the Mishra's Bauble here, I'm still gonna kill the Karn. Have a look at what he's got on top. An Expedition, which he can also not play. So we're gonna keep the Chalice for a bit, I think. He also won't be able to play the Ugin for the time being. He could play the Scavenger Grounds, of course. Alright. Apparently too many mistakes. I think he just realized how bad like his line of play here was. And anyhow, yeah, it was looking good for us. So off to round number 2. Alright, welcome to round number 2. This time we are playing against Hardcore Henry. And we're on the draw. Not a keepable hand, despite looking good overall. So another topic that I wanted to address, so I think I'm gonna ditch the Blood Crypt here because there's a lot of Ponza running around right now. And of course and this is not gonna be Ponza. What is this? Breach? Yeah, it could be a breach list with with a boil safe mana base. Could also be Kiki Jiki, maybe. Fail Push is a really bad card here. I don't actually even want to have the Snapcaster Mage, I think. I think they're playing a lot of Remands, and so I'm just going to be looking for a couple of counter spells. So another topic that I wanted to address is that people have been or have started to complain about green-white Heliod, and it's just hilarious to me. Yes, it is probably one of the best decks. This is not even the best deck in Modern right now, but it's one of the best decks, right? But it's very, very beatable if you are putting your sideboard cards to it, you know. You can play Reign of Gore, you can basically any removal disrupts the combo. So there's Skyclave Apparition for Heliod, you can play the Seed. There's so many sideboard options. You can play Vanishing Verse, which has just been released, that deal with the combo, that I don't think the combo itself is a problem, and then you're just complaining about a resilient deck because it can play like Auric Champion in the main board, right? So I don't actually think that it is problematic whatsoever. I cannot spend the Archmage Charm here due to, as I said, Breach probably being a thing. Now I will do it though at the end of turn to hopefully draw either a counter spell or whatever. Because they're probably also playing Force in the Force. So I might want to try to find an Inquisition in my turn, or by the end of turn here, so that I can get rid of a potential force, so that he doesn't force me at the end of turn. And also, like, it hasn't even put up great results lately. It just hasn't. Like, if you're looking at modern challenges, Green Red Heliod is barely in the top 32 of decks most of the time. There are events that it does spike, like the Super Qualifier, which I actually qualified for but somehow missed, like the Invitational. But there almost 1/3 of the field registered Green White Heliod, so it wasn't surprising that were like 2 or 3 copies in the top 8, right? So I'm not going to do anything here. I'm just going to let him clean up. And as long as he's not drawing another land card here, he might go a little bit proactive end of turn with the Snapcaster Mage, which I will just push. Also, we're not yet at 15 lives, so an Emrakul is not actually lethal as of right now. Prismari command. Yeah, I cannot really deal with this, as my Drawn Loch wouldn't be able to counter anything, and I'm like missing a land as well. See, there's the Remand that would have hit us and given our opponent an additional draw here, I believe. So now he has 4 cards in the bin, which means I will probably be able to do 2 things in my turn. So I'm gonna draw 2 here again, see what he does. As I said, I'm still looking for... Actually, Valky could also be decent. Let's see. So I'm gonna go bold him here because I have a couple too many cards in hand. And then I believe my play is Valky and then keep Drown and Logic Knot up, right? So with Valky, I could theoretically force him to force some action here. No. So let me have a look at where he's going to draw. Spire Bluff Canal, which doesn't do anything for him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think he has 1 card in hand that could potentially be he definitely has another Remand in hand, pretty sure of that. Therefore, I'm just gonna let this resolve, I think. We've already drawn 2 times with our Archmage's Charm, therefore we are not too far behind here. And I think I could go end of turn like Treasure, but then you can just crack the Treasure in response, which would also not be great. Alright, so he did have another land here, so yeah. I think I'm just gonna try to return it here by the end of turn to draw an additional card. Don't think that he's gonna act. Well, never mind, I guess. So 1, 2, 3. I will still only have a couple of cards here. Mm. We're fighting about this, and it's a little bit stupid, but I can currently only play 2 counter spells anyway, therefore it doesn't really bother me as much. Alright, knocked off the top. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm still 1 short for Lurus. And there's another critic. We've got few too few. Islands, otherwise. Alright. Volakut Awakening. And just drew 2 cards, so he's very happy, very content with the cards in his hand, apparently. And he didn't draw a land here, so must be filled with counter magic actually, which is of course a big problem for us. Would really love, nope, wrong 1 mana spell. An Inquisition at any point in time here would have been great. So Greenwood Heliod, absolutely. I'm absolutely on board with to remain in the format and be the top dog of the format, or one of the top dogs of the format, if you so will. And other than that, I had it's already like 2 weeks ago or whatever, but I had a discussion about closed or open deck lists. So what I'm gonna do here, I think, as I do have 2 counters only anyway, and I think that my opponent does have multiple breaches in hand, or the ability to counter here at least once. I think I'm going to let this resolve, and then in his upkeep, I know that he's going to draw an island. In his upkeep, I'm going to go... Oh no, not in his upkeep. I need to do it in his beginning of combat. um, because now I can bluff a force negation as well. So my opponent might have an incentive to not go for it here. So 6, that should be good. And if he does have a 2 mana counter, then we're dead anyway. Okay. Alright, it does have a Snapcaster. So yeah, this is what I meant. So if I had played it differently, he would have had the Snapcaster through the breach anyway. Therefore, we would have lost. So there were just too many outs that our opponent had there. So we're gonna get Thoughtseize in. I think Spellbomb is also fine. And Bulky is actually decent. I think I'm just gonna cut the bolts here. Although, no, the drip bores. Yep. I got a little bit unfortunate there with how our draws panned out, that we had 3 pushes and no Inquisition, etc. But yeah, so the other topic that I wanted to talk about was open or closed deck lists. And I had a discussion about it, and also most of you do regard closed deck lists as beneficial to competitive play. And I agree with that notion. I think closed deck lists are beneficial, and the only downside from it is scouting, basically, or that, you know, the ones who are on camera on a paper event, of course, do have a little bit of a disadvantage. So Mystical Dispute is probably the card that I need to take here, so that my Jace resolves, and then we can go from there. And then the argument from some players is that, you know, gotcha decks are being diminished by having open deck lists, and that should always be the case due to skill prevailing. But to that, I can only say that is incorrect, because first of all, skill. Oh wait, skill is a function of also just keeping hands that are functional against a variety of decks, building your deck in the sense that, you know, so to start this over again, I probably should have started with the Serum Visions here. So skill is, in Magic at least, is a function of both deck building, skill in deck building, and in-game skill. So, so even from the very start, people should be allowed to have a variation in their deck building in order to LOL. Okay. Interesting. So I do believe that next turn I gotta go with both Inquisition and Thoughtseize. All right. So you could go Cryptic, counterbalance my Jace here, so there is an incentive for me to, yeah, we're fucked. That's actually problematic. We've drawn so many cards here, feels a little bit bad that this is how it ended. But I could have also not done it differently, because if I had led with the Thoughtseize and then I wouldn't have been able, like, he could have just bounced my Jace there in order to prevent me from Thoughtseizing again, and that would have, of course, been the end of it. So you have deck building skill, and then you have in-game skill. And by having open deck list, you're already basically taking away one half of the skill basis of Magic, right? So then, and of course, net deckers won't understand this, but this is a real cost. And then the second thing you have is the fact that a lot of the decks in the meta, as we know it, rely on your opponent not knowing what deck you're on, right? So despite me being a control player, which would of course benefit me greatly knowing what my opponent's on at all times, but despite that being the fact, I would not want deck lists to be open. It would change the meta significantly, and you're basically punishing a lot of aggressive decks. So just to round this up, you're also taken away from the ability of people to mimic other decks in order to contain information, and also a couple of bluffs. There's just so much variety in Magic that you can utilize the information asymmetry for, that I think it's greatly beneficial that you're doing that. And I will talk about it in the next part, because I'm going to stop the video right now to not let my opponent wait for too long. Alright, welcome to round number 3. We are on the play again, and this time I'll try to talk a little bit less in order to play a little better, although I don't think that I could have, like, except for the one play where I should have led with the Seven Visions. I don't think that I could have played it differently. So let's bubble first. Our opponent's not on the Lurus deck, so there is a chance that we're going to be Inquisitioned. Alright. So we're now playing against the 4C Bring to Light deck, which is interesting because we need to be counter heavy again. So I'm going to start off with blue instead of going with the swamp. So just in case, we're going to draw another blue source plus logic knot off the top. And also, like, just the last point in regards to these two topics, right? So from my perspective, a Gilded Goose? Lol. So I think I'm going to take an opt here and then kill the Gilded Goose with my Lightning Bolt, because that is just seems to be the best course of action here, knowing what he has on top. And then we draw our own bulky. So apparently this might not be the 4C list, but instead like a 5C Bring to Light version, like the control versions basically. But then opt would be a little bit weird, so I don't know. And again, like in regards to these two topics, this is just my very neutral opinion. very objective. Because on the one hand, I think I would benefit from a rules change in that regard, but I just don't think it's beneficial to the game, and that's what I ultimately care about. And in regards to Heliod, I think that's just a good deck to have on top of the meta. There's just not a whole lot of downside risk to it. So, as we've seen his hand for the past 2 turns, I don't think there's a lot of incentive for me to go with a discard spell here. So I need to stop the Bring to Light somehow, right? So we need to, I don't know why we're drawing so few blue sources. And just all black parts here. Alright. Well, this helps a little bit, I would say. So, Wooded Foothills is gone. This not gone, this not gone, this not gone. And potentially does have one more for Wooded Foothills. I'm not certain about that. I don't think so. There should be 2 cards that we don't know about. A Snapcaster Mage, alright. So hopefully we're going to draw another blue source. Perfect. Perfect. Don't even need to shock it. And then if he doesn't do anything here, which he apparently does though. And I think like people complaining about Heliod are just crybabies that can't win against the deck. And it's additionally surprising to me for those who are playing control decks. Because, like, for aggressive decks, yeah, that's a bad matchup, but you have those, right? It's fine for a single deck to be good against aggressive decks, even in game 1. Okay, so I need to counter this. This makes things a little easier. I don't need to do anything with that, and if he fetches here end of turn, which he doesn't do. But then in regards to the really stupid cards in the format that remain to be Renin 6 and Veil of Summer, we don't hear anything about those cards right now. Although, right, Renin 6 is being played in almost any color combination. What is this? Shape in You. Oh, it's a Shape in You deck. So they're trying to kill us with... That's also why they need... So actually killing the food here makes sense, I think. Yeah. With Infect here. Gingerbread Cabin. So this is probably going to be bring to light into shape anew. We're just going to have a look at what he's going to do here. So I'm actually quite curious as to how many shaving news he does have in his deck. It's possible that he doesn't have any more wind cons right now. And we haven't seen any creatures except for Snapcaster Mage yet. I do not believe that I want to go with a bulky here right now though. Dude, we're drawing so fucking many of these failed pushes all the time. That's a little bit annoying. So let's read the blah blah blah. That put an artifact card, yeah. So that's exactly what I thought. So I think they're gonna try to kill us with infect damage. So it should be decent. Like it should be fine as long as I do have Snapcaster into K command. So I'm just gonna have a look here at what he does have in hand, which is another path, which is decently annoying. Also, as you might have noticed by now, this has been recorded on ultra wide, which I don't know how good it translates to. Oh, my Lurus is dead already. How did my Lurus die? Oh, path, sure. Yeah, it's fine. As soon as we're going to draw a Drown Loch, I think I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive, because even if he gets his artifact creature through, we would still be able to kill it. But up until then, we're just going to play the land drop game. And, well, this is how Moto works sometimes, right? So last game we didn't draw any lands, despite drawing a bunch. This game, we're just drawing lands. Alright, that's good enough. And I don't, like, I won't even bother with that. So many gingerbread cabins. Pooh. I think, yeah, we don't have any vegetables anymore, so this is just here for And by now he also has so much mana that I might not want to waste my K command here to have a couple additional sources in the graveyard for the lodging. My goodness. So how much is this? Or how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 within our first, like, basically 25 cards. Another K command. Now I'm gonna start being a little bit more aggressive here. Because at some point he will probably also just go with the Teferi and then fuck us that way. So probably want to keep the amount of options that he has here to a minimum. I know that he just can gain 3 life of this food here, but as I said, killing a couple of food tokens in between. Also, sure, this is actually a decent course of action. Finally, a cryptic command. Do you still have fetchables? Yeah, you probably have another gingerbread cabin, right? Host. I'm gonna kill my Snapcaster Mage here to then utilize K commands to make him discard 2 cards, basically. So that we have a little bit of action here. Yeah, that was the Blightsteel Colossus that I was talking about. Let's see if you do have another one. Tile, play discards, and artifacts. But so these 3 decks that we're or have been playing against up until this point of time have already shown the initial notion. Like, people have shifted, and this in the meta, right? So both Breach and this as well have huge problems against the very aggressive prowess decks. So it is kind of astounding, my god, that currently these prevail as combo and big mana decks. Okay, apparently only has 2 gingerbread cabins, I would assume. Finally, something that we can utilize. So I don't think that he can actually sacrifice the food token here, because he probably needs it for Shaven You. So we're gonna draw. Alright, we're gonna draw again, because even the snap Archmage Charm plus Cryptic is available here. And these are not even our best counter spells here. Yeah, Force. Force is definitely annoying. You gotta be kidding me, man. Dum 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 dum. So many lands. So since my opponent is playing counter magic, so now it's a different story. But as long as I don't know what my opponent does have in hand, and he is playing counter magic and has enough mana to cast all of it, kind of incentivized to maintain at least 2 counter spells in my hand. Another Force. All right. So we're gonna take this opportunity here to just speed up the game a little bit, because this is just taking too long. Not a great viewing experience. Ah, finally, we hit a torpid. Alright, so let's start off with Visions. Don't want that. Kind of want to have that. Target him. See a land. Go with Visions. Bottom, I guess top. Have a look. Remand is pretty decent. So it all depends on whether or not he fetches end of turn. If he does fetch and doesn't fetch for a gingerbread cabin, I'm gonna go all in with the Snapcaster. This way though, I probably can't do that. Because I don't know if he does have another gingerbread, and then we're leaving ourselves open to, my goodness. This is actually quite the flood. Like, we're down to 20 cards in our deck, right? And we've drawn, I don't know, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, at least 19 of our 23 cards, online cards. Yep. Could have forced him to utilize the other one there as well, but I don't think that it makes a huge difference because he will have to utilize it anyway. Okay, so we drew a Jace, which is already decent. That's a mistake. Unless, of course, let's see what he does here. So Okay. This Misty Rainforest is a little bit irritating. So if I let this Bolt resolve and then go with Snap Bolt, right? So he would have to have... Nah, I can't risk it. Can I even attack here? 1, 2. So what's my best counter spell here? It's just Cryptic Command right now. There's Logic Knot as well. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so it's still fine. So if he does have a counter spell, but he needs another token anyway, so. Fuck my life. But he won't be able to combo, so we should still be winning, but still somewhat annoying. And that was a weird play. I mean, yeah, he's dead to the Snapcaster anyway, so. Alright. My goodness, that was a struggle on our part. So Thoughtseize, I guess I could go with Damping Sphere because Shaping You would also always be like the second, not always, but off of a Bring to Light would be the second spell. I could also go with an Engineered Explosives because that's just killing all the annoying parts of the deck right away. I don't think that Valky is great. I probably need to keep the Dread Boar. Yeah, something like this. Actually, I think I'm gonna bring in one Damping Sphere as well. Because our opponent could be bringing in Veil of Summer, and that would then be the third spell. I think it's gonna be cast, right? I think Bring to Light cast the spell. Yeah. So he would still have to pay for it. And then Veil of Summer would be the third spell for him the turn, so Veil of Summer would then cost 3, which of course is a huge tax. Also later today there's probably going to be a modern challenge that I want to participate in. This one here. I think I'm going to keep this. This is actually not a bad hand, because we do have a Dread Boar for a Teferi. Although it is somewhat risky, of course, but Serum Visions, plus we're on the draw, plus we have double discard spell into Dread Boar, makes me feel kind of fuzzy. Yeah, and with my opponent not doing anything here, I'm certainly not going to run into his Veil of Summer. Uh-oh. Da-da-dum. So one land is all I'm going to ask for here. Don't even want to have two, I just want to have one. What is that? Rand 6? Rest in peace. Alright. Okay. Okay, thank you. Should have specified. So probably worst hand that worst card in our deck that we could have possibly drawn, but I'm gonna take the Teferi here, and then I'm also gonna take the Bring to Light. All right. I mean, close, I guess. Now basically any land's fine. Island's fine. Well, Swamp is not super fine, but any land but that. So I'm gonna play the Lurrus here because I actually want to have the Jace in play. And if he wants to counter my Lurrus, that is absolutely okay with me. Yeah, well, you will have to pay 3 for it though. Oh, come on. Fucking remand. And the good thing is that if my Lurrus is in play, actually, so if he counters here and draws a gingerbread cabin off the top, I think we are just dead on the board. Therefore, oh lol. And we're just gonna play this. So either he had just the luckiest sequence of draws here. If he also does have a Shape of New, it's just fucking insane. Like, this is just fucking insane. Like, and he skipped his... Oh no, he didn't skip anything. Okay. It just cannot even attack? It doesn't have haste? Lol. So let's see. If he also has a force of negation. Alright, he doesn't. Because this would be hilarious. Yeah, then this bad is this deck's just bad. Like I thought it would at least also have haste, but without haste, this thing's almost never gonna win. So yeah, I got 8 cards in hand, which is somewhat problematic. I assume that he's gonna counter this. I mean, it is indestructible though, so I guess that's good, but it's still dead to so many things. Oh my fucking god. So I'm not gonna replay the Jays here. And just discard and Tripor. So I actually believe, and I think he just realized that I can just kill the food token here. But still quite the insane draws here by opponents. No, but as long as I do have that explosives on the battlefield, you will have to have more than that. Let's it resolve, which is very interesting. So now he has to have a Tail's End as well. Or he has some weird sideboard card that I don't know. But I mean, if it's just the, and this is definitely a Mystical Dispute or a Veil Summer. Yeah, it does have a bulky. All right. So it's probably a Mystical Dispute, right? Logic Knot from us, and I think he's gotten an opt. Not 100% sure though. So I'm gonna go with the explosives here right now, because if I am going to go with the Dreadboy here, and he does have a Mystical Dispute, and oh come on, dude. Ooh. This is almost more than I can bear. Because now, I mean, the Logic Knot's not great, but there's another shape in you, and what do we reveal? K commands? One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3. So he cannot go with K command and shape in you, and have a counter spell back. So I'm gonna try to bounce here, which of course will fail, but Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. This is fucking insane. And yeah. So Blightsteel Colossus in hand, Snapcaster Mage in hand. We got 14 life after we got a little bit less, but I have to get rid of the Mystical Dispute. Which, you know, that's fine, I guess. So, he also still does have the K commands. I cannot do anything here. I mean, I can draw two, but that's also not great. Serum Visions and another Rot. Alright, so now I'm pretty certain that he doesn't have a third Gingerbread Cabin. So he does have problems here anyway. And we're also 2 minutes ahead, so... I will leave him to it. So he put 2 cards on the bottom. We have basically drawn half of our deck without finding a 5th land source here. And also, like, it stands to mention that Valky also hasn't exiled any lands from us. So, yeah. Let's see how long it takes until we actually do get one. He does make me discard. Yeah, sure. I could also counter this, I guess. I want to have the Snapcaster Mage just in case everything goes south here. And I need to block. So I know that he does have a Blightsteel Colossus in hand. And not to fetch. And he also put a couple of cards to the bottom, I think. Alright, so finally found something. But this looks strongly like a force negation, right? And this does look like it is, or might be, a force negation. Did only have like 2 draws though, so we're still gonna try it, and if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna play the Snapcaster Mage. Okay, it wasn't a force negation at least. Does have a remand though. Alright then, keep your secrets. He's down to under 5 minutes though, and steam vents. Now you get our red sources. Steam vents is actually somewhat problematic because what did he get from him? Just a misty rainforest. This is fine. So unless he doesn't, unless he finds some red spells off of our deck, I think, I'm not gonna die to this Snapcaster Mage, hopefully. Alright, so, start with this. Done. Play Creeping Tar Pits, and then if he had a counterspell here, he would have played it, right? Yes, I'm gonna take the trades. I don't actually know what my opponent still has left in his deck. Oh no, he's got another one. He might have another Valky here. But if so, I think we're just gonna ignore the Valky and go to town. Law. The worst in history here. Alright, target player discards and this one. This is one of the weirdest games I've ever played. Oh, the first game we couldn't win because we actually didn't draw any spells and just lands. And this game we basically... Okay. Okay. Alright, welcome to round number 4. We are on the draw again, and I think it's been sequential here with winning the play and drawing for each round. Up until now we've won those we were on the play and lost the one we were on the draw, I believe at least. And this is not okay. If any of these lands were a non-island, one of the 20 lands that we have in our deck that are non-islands, then that would be okay, but cannot keep this. This is decent as well though. We are going to keep, and I think the best course of action is probably this one. Although we might be running into... we are not. Oh no. Clever Lumamancer without having a removal spell is problematic. Alright, does have a Lavador and a couple of Soulscar mages. So if I take the Lava Dart, then he won't be able to cast it from the graveyard next turn. But I think I'm gonna take a Soul Scum Mage, and then if he wants to attack with the Lumamancer, he will have to do something with the Lava Dart anyway. Or just draw a Crash Through, which is probably the best card you could possibly draw here. Alright. That is good though. Not gonna lie, that was a decent draw. So I'm gonna wait for him to act here. I don't want to kill the Clever Lumamancer before. Well, our opponent is definitely drawing good cards as well. So, although Mana of Fools is very, very good here, it does force him to act. Ooh. Okay. Should have probably waited one more step here just to see if he also does have a mutagenic growth, which would be a possibility, I guess. So now I do have a couple of options here. I think the best option is just going with the Archmage's Charm and stealing the Soul Scum Mage. Because the Lava Dart doesn't kill the Soul Scum Mage by itself, so we might get a block out of the Mage here, and otherwise we probably only get like 2 damage. That is weird, right? Is it just me or is this weird? There's no way you can protect your Soul Scum Mage, right? Are you killing the... Okay, I see. Yep, that's fine. The... Yeah, that was so harshly misplayed that it really hurts, but... that was the shape scoop. That was really difficult to like watch. So Cryptic's gonna go out. Archmage Charm I think can remain. Valky is not super bad in the matchup. We actually need more cards. Okay, already gotten rid of too many cards. So then I will add both Valkyries again and cut 1 Generations. Yes. Keep. But yeah, so what was interesting was the week before last weekend, we saw like all the big mana decks dominate the Mon format, right, in the Mon challenges. And then last weekend, we saw, and I was wondering why or how that could actually be the case because the meta was I wasn't playing a lot, but the meta was very aggressive lately, and therefore these decks should have problems, right? And so I think I'm gonna fetch shock here. Because my opponent's pretty low on resources and yeah. So and that was apparently just a momentary shift when the last weekend saw the Modern Challenge being dominated by blue-red prowess again, which makes a lot of sense because the meta just seemed ripe for prowess to pick off all the very removal light decks. So I'm pretty certain that I won't be able to kill the Lumimancer here, but I'm still gonna bolt it. Okay, never mind. So this might just be a Lurus. Actually, he didn't show me Lurus, or did he put it in hand already? Like, am I missing something here? No, I don't think he does still have Lurus in his deck. I brought in Blood Moon instead. Good choice. Alright, GG's. Alright, welcome to the last round here. We are on the draw again, and we are going to keep our hand for a change, I believe. So this one goes to the right. And we're gonna get picked off here with an Inquisition. Probably take an hour Inquisition, I would assume. Probably protecting either a Renin 6 or could also be like, now this is definitely not a Death Shadow deck, therefore. Either a Renin 6 or yeah, definitely a Renin 6. Lucky us, because we found just the right answer to that. See you. No follow-up play. That is weird, I would say. So typically I don't really like shocking against John Deere, but I really want to have the Archmage Charm do something different than just countering. Get a little bit of core advantage going in here. I guess he might have a K command that he would be willing to play. Maybe not. So I could let this resolve, but I don't think it will. Just not really my jam, letting things resolve. Oh, there's a Croxa. Alright, Croxa is problematic. Unless he doesn't want to play it, then of course it's not so bad. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, this is so beautiful. All right, so this is Joe. Oh man, this is really fantastic. So we got the Valky, and of course I could wait, but this is actually way better. So he does have a lightning bolt, but he does not have a fail push. So if he bolts my Valky, he's gonna get blown out, and then we're gonna fuck him with his own Croxa. No, or we're just gonna counter the Leona. That's fine as well. One, yeah, that should be enough. Welcome to hell, my friend. Dum dum dum. Ah, this game's over. This game's over. Yeah, Lightning Bolt doesn't do anything, and I mean the K command's a dead card anyway, but why would we wait? Yeah. Alrighty, 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 alrighty. So, I think I'm gonna get rid of actually my cryptics here. Probably cannot play my Jaces. Valky is decent but not great. I'm gonna cut one. And then we're gonna go with a lot of Neil spell bombs, a lot of engineered explosives, and well, okay, I'm gonna go with the second bulky here. A bulky, of course, is not great due to Ren and 6, and getting to 7 mana post board when my opponent is likely bringing in stuff like Choke or the thing that kills all islands. The card that I refuse to name. So, something that really bothers me in Modern is that there is so much island hate in the format, but we don't have hate for the other colors. Like, there's no. I think there's one card like killing um, all the planes for like I don't know 4, 5, 6 mana. But overall, like I cannot play anything that kills forests or and I don't think that's fair. And I also don't think that I'm not gonna keep this. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this, I think. I think it's so my yeah, I've reduced my CMC here, or mana value, how it's called now, enough to being able to keep this. Although we did have mana problems before, but I think it's more important for me to actually catch a Ren 6 from getting down on turn 2 than oh my goodness, Pillage? Yeah, alright. Pillage is probably problematic card here for us. Good thing is our opponent's hand is definitely also not great. Never mind, he just drew something good. Probably the Ren and 6 that I wanted to protect against. Oh, Charmoglyph. I guess that's the land. And now we can try to find either a fatal push or lightning bolt isn't good enough. Yeah. Lightning bolt is not good enough. So I'm not gonna crack this bubble yet, because I don't want to give him an additional card type. Opponent with the very aggressive draw now. There was no. Oh my goodness. Terminate off the top. I think I'm gonna get it. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get rid of the launching out here. So we are gonna survive the next turn, which is good, I guess. And then I can also go after Liliana. If we draw a land, I mean, yeah, any bolt is lethal anyway, but still got the terminate. Let's have a look at what he's gonna draw. Spellbomb. Alright. So I kind of think. So I need the Serravians. And then the question is, do I want to play the Valkyrie right now? Yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of the K command here. Yeah, we're dead to a lot of things, not gonna lie. So. Yeah. So I put both cards on top, right? No, I put one card on top, one card on the bottom. So I think I'm gonna draw a card here anyway. and then see what my opponent does. Of course, I would need to protect my lures. Yeah, I need to protect my lures. My failed push here. Which is a little bit unfortunate. On the upside though, I mean, I already... Alright. So I'm still gonna kill it here, but it's still funny. Reason is, of course, Liliana. If I draw a Snapcaster Mage or whatever, then I do want to. That is not so great. Inquisition. So we're still alive, because even if Liliana takes down here, I will have the ability to kill the Bloodbraid Elf. And he wisely doesn't do it. Doesn't attack either, which makes sense. Let's see what I'm gonna draw. Wrong one. Yeah, alright. Okay, so what's really strange is that we haven't seen a Ren in 6 yet. That is really awkward. I think I'm gonna go with the Jace here on the play. Okay, keeping this. And then it all depends on whether or not he does have a turn 1 Inquisition or does not. Alright. So as this turns out, like, he will probably take my draw and lock anyway, but... So I do have Augmented Charms, but I think I'm going to start off with Blood Crypt here to provide me with double black, and also I don't need to. Never mind. Shock here, I was going to say. K command Liliana, nil spellbomb, terminate. Interesting. But I think as it stands right now, we can only go with one of these. So either he kills my Valky, which will enable me to get it back with K commands, or he just goes with nil spellbomb and I get my Valky to deal at least a little bit of damage. And then next turn, we shall see. Don't want to plan ahead too far. Okay, so just the Terminate as something that he wants to keep up here, apparently. There is the Augmented Charm. So I'm gonna shock here nonetheless. So I want to see what he discards first. I'm going to discard the Archmage Charm here. Alright, discard Spellbomb, interesting. So now I believe that I'm just going to go return and discard again. So that we do get a good 2-for-1 here. Do I need this swamp? That's a real question, right? So I only know the K command in his hand right now. I think I'm gonna play the swamp here and discard the lightning bolt potentially if he could also discard the Valky, of course. But I think I'm gonna discard the K command. Okay. So he can get back the Bloodbraid. Which is quite fortunate for him. I think this is fine though, right? Because I do have, like, I can discard the Valky here. Yeah, I think this is the play. Worst case scenario, this costs me like 2 lands. But if I draw something decent off the top, like another Snapcaster Mage or something of that magnitude, then I could also get out of this way better. Probably shouldn't have gone for an island there though, because then he can like make a pile with these 3. But then at least we've gotten rid of the Liliana, so. And this is weird actually. Like if he does this right now and kills my Snapcaster Mage, because he needs to kill my Snap, yeah. Because then I'm gonna get my Snapcaster Mage back, and then I can take care of the Liliana. I think this is a mistake. I think like having the Valky on the battlefield here right now is way better for him than this. Return and discard. This is interesting as well, of course. But I'm gonna do it here. Just go with the lightning bolt. And then I assume he's gonna take down unless he finds a removal spell off the top. Which he did. Which is unfortunate. Hmm. I could have played the Lurus here, of course. Oh my fucking god. So now opponent really... Fuck my life, dude, what the fuck? Oh my fucking goodness. Lucky bastard. Fuck you. Lol. 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 Alright. Better lucky than good. Anyhow, decent league. Was fun. And I will probably jump into the Mon Challenge today. So see you guys around.